Title: The Midnight Delivery. Part 1: The New Job. In the heart of New York City, a young delivery driver named Alex Carter, age 24, was navigating his first week on the job. Alex had recently moved from a small town, seeking excitement and new opportunities in the bustling city. Working for a popular late-night food delivery service, he quickly learned the city's labyrinthine streets and the peculiarities of its inhabitants. One chilly October evening, Alex received a late-night delivery order to a desolate, old building in a forgotten part of Brooklyn. The address was 348 Grimstone Avenue, a location not on the usual delivery routes. The building's exterior was decrepit, and a sense of foreboding loomed over the place. Part 2: The Mysterious Client. Alex arrived at the building just past midnight, its dim lights casting eerie shadows across the cracked pavement. The door creaked open as he approached, revealing a narrow hallway lined with peeling wallpaper and flickering fluorescent lights. The atmosphere was thick with an unsettling quietness. A man in his late 50s, Mr. Everett, greeted him. His appearance was peculiar, dressed in a vintage suit that looked out of place in modern times. His eyes were dark and sunken. Despite the oddity, Alex handed over the food and received a strange tip, an old, tarnished coin. "Keep it safe," Mr. Everett whispered with a grin that sent chills down Alex's spine. Part 3: The Haunting begins. That night, Alex tossed and turned in bed, unable to shake the eerie feeling from the delivery. His dreams were filled with unsettling images, long, dark corridors, whispers in a language he didn't understand, and shadowy figures lurking at the edges of his vision. When he woke up, the coin was still in his pocket. Curious, Alex examined it more closely. It was engraved with strange symbols he couldn't identify, and the metal seemed unnaturally cold to the touch. From that moment, odd occurrences started happening. Doors in his apartment would open by themselves, lights flickered at random, and he heard faint whispers whenever he was alone. Part 4: A Return to Grimstone Avenue. Disturbed by these events, Alex decided to return to the building at 348 Grimstone Avenue, hoping to confront Mr. Everett and return the coin. But when he arrived, something was off. The building appeared abandoned, its windows shattered, and the front door boarded up. It was as if no one had lived there for years. Confused and frightened, Alex knocked on the door, but no one answered. A neighbor, an elderly woman in her 70s, stepped outside and noticed Alex. She looked him up and down, her face pale with fear when she spotted the coin in his hand. "You need to leave that place alone," she warned. "No one has lived in 348 Grimstone for decades. Everett died a long time ago." Part 5: The Dark History of 348 Grimstone. Determined to understand what was happening, Alex did some research at the local library. What he discovered left him paralyzed with fear. 348 Grimstone Avenue had a dark history. The building was once home to a notorious occultist in the early 1900s, a man who conducted strange rituals and vanished mysteriously. His name was Richard Everett, and the strange coin Alex now carried was part of a cursed relic used in rituals to summon dark entities. The more Alex read, the more his paranoia grew. The whispers he heard at night grew louder, more insistent, and shadows moved in his peripheral vision, always just out of sight. He realized that by accepting the coin, he had become part of something sinister, something that wouldn't let him go so easily. Part 6: The Descent. Alex's life began to spiral out of control. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and his job performance suffered. His friends distanced themselves, concerned by his erratic behavior. Every time he tried to get rid of the coin, it would inexplicably reappear in his pocket. One night, the whispers turned into screams. Shadows that had once lingered in the corners now seemed to come closer, taking on forms that resembled twisted, demonic figures. Alex knew he was losing his mind, but he couldn't escape the pull of the coin or the dark power it represented. In desperation, Alex sought out a paranormal investigator, a woman named Dr. Amelia Graves, who had dealt with cursed objects before. Dr. Graves, in her early 40s, was calm and composed as she examined the coin. Her face paled as she confirmed Alex's worst fears. The coin was tied to an ancient ritual meant to bind a human soul to dark forces. Breaking the curse wouldn't be easy, and there would be consequences. Part 7. The Final Delivery. Dr. Graves suggested a final ritual that might break the coin's hold on Alex, but it required him to return to 348 Grimstone Avenue, to the place where the curse began. The building, now a crumbling ruin, seemed to breathe with malevolent energy as Alex and Dr. Graves entered. In the center of the building, they found a hidden room, a place where Richard Everett had conducted his dark rituals. The air was thick with the scent of decay and sulfur. As they prepared to break the curse, the shadows came alive, swirling around them in a violent storm. The whispers were deafening now, and Alex could feel his very soul being pulled toward the darkness. With one final act of defiance, Alex cast the coin into the center of the room, where it vanished in a flash of blinding light. The shadows screamed and retreated, and the building fell silent. But as Alex and Dr. Graves escaped the building, something felt wrong. The coin was gone, but the whispers still lingered in Alex's mind. He had broken the curse, but at what cost? As he walked away from Grimstone Avenue, Alex realized that he might never truly escape the darkness that had taken root in his soul. The end.